Don't you think it's weird that we spin and the water doesn't fall off the plant? Somehow, magically,
no, it's gravity. It's just
the crazy thing about it, though. This is the crazy thing about it. I don't know shit about that. All I do is just watch them space documentaries we're fed. I used to be addicted to space documentaries. And then when you watch this documentary, you find out why we believe what we believe, and the timeline of Ptolemy to Copernicus to Kepler to Galileo and all that timeline of what people thought and believed, and it was always a battle of all these astronomers studying the lights in the sky. That's all they saw was the lights in the sky. Studying everything goes this way except those wandering stars, and then they figured out those wandering stars were planets, and then from there I go, okay, those are the planets because they're the only ones that are on their own course. So they're all trying to figure out, is the universe spinning around us, or are we spinning around the universe? That's always that's always been, we think like I always thought, oh, they're dumb back then. They thought the world was the center of the universe and all that shit. And you look back at that, you don't really look into, unless you know the actual timeline. It's crazy hearing all these scientists going back, and you hear them explaining how it all went down. Once you go through the whole story of what we think about space and all that, they tell you, we don't know shit. We're looking at a bunch of lights in the goddamn sky. You're going to tell me that light and that light, that's 100 trillion light years away? How the fuck did you figure that out?
Don't they have an explanation for that shit?
No, exactly. That's what you just said right now. What you just said now is what everyone's natural reaction. Because anytime someone says anything about space, you automatically think, someone figured it out. You don't know the guy's name. You don't know the name of the experiment. You didn't look into it yourself. You just think when someone tells you, how far is the Earth from the sun? They'll say, 93 million miles away. Like you just,
right.
Everybody relies on someone figured that out and someone double checked it. Dude, it's math. Right. It's science. It's math. But no one really knows. You're going on what you read and whatever hits you first.
You mean no one like that we're talking to?
Yeah, like, I don't know.
Someone has been measuring this stuff.
Yeah, if I told you.
I don't know how they measure
if I
it,
told
but I'm
you
sure
right
there's
now,
like a logical method of measurement. They've got it figured out in
Totally.
a calculation. I just don't know what the method they use.
Someone figured it out. You don't know the guy's name.
Right.
There's names of experiments. Like you could actually look in and you look at. There's an experiment called the Michelson-Morley experiment that tried to prove that the Earth was moving. So they assumed like that the space is filled with an ether. Like that's what dark matter maybe is, or dark energy. There's an ether. So let's like measure the light waves going through the ether as it hits the Earth, and then we'll measure it back, and we'll be able to tell if there's an ether based on the light going against the ether and with the current. It's like you're swimming relative to the ground. You know, if you're swimming against the current, you go one way, and you're going a certain speed, but if you go along the current or the other way, you're going way faster. It's like that, but they couldn't measure shit. When you look into Michelson-Morley experiment, the results were we couldn't measure that we're moving at all. So it's always been a debate. Are we moving? Aren't we moving? Even with Einstein, it was a debate. Like in the fucking 20s and 30s, they still didn't know. You assume, yeah, it's moving. It says right here, 1,000 miles an hour, it's rotating. But the people at the top don't even know.
We don't know what's driving 96% of the universe. We don't know what's driving 96% of the universe.
They don't even know, but we assume because we read it somewhere that they know, but it's all guesswork. That means everything that we've ever taught or ever knew is all wrong. So that's where they're at. I don't know if it's true. That cosmic microwave background could be total bullshit. That could easily be like a mind game in itself. Like, they don't know what the fuck that is. What you find out...
you gotta assume that the top astronomers know what the fuck that is.
Yes. So either way, it's crazy.
They're constantly updating what they know to be true. So it's not like something that's rigid. But astronomy is one of those things. It's like they'll release... See, every time they find out something new, about a planet, like it's important to release that information. It's not like they have like a strict narrative that they have to hold on to. So if someone comes around and says, it turns out that our measurement was inaccurate, and the moon is, you know, X amount of miles further and weighs X amount of tons less than we thought it did, or more, and weighs X amount of tons less than we thought it did, or more. I don't think that would be a bad thing for science, right? That would be just a new discovery with better equipment.
The new discovery is like there's people that are getting pressured. I don't know. This is what they're saying. This could all be bullshit. It could all be bullshit.
Those documentaries get you so juiced up. They're so juicy. They seem so good. They seem so real. You get fired up. And then once you get fired up, it's tough to get unfired up.
Yeah, dude, that cosmic microwave background could be total bullshit.
You know
what?
Could be total
bullshit.
I've read really recently they believe that there's been some debate as to whether or not it's an eternal process, that there was no beginning or end to the universe, and that what you're seeing when you're seeing a Big Bang is not the beginning. It's just that beginning.
It's all theories. Like, they don't know shit, dude.
They definitely don't know everything.
They're looking at lights. That's all they're looking at. They're not looking at mass or anything.
Well, they're
just
looking at
looking
some
at
things.
lights.
They're measuring
and
gases.
they're going, that's a galaxy because the red light is elongated. That's a galaxy. And it's 700 trillion light years away. How the fuck? It sounds like there's a lot of bullshit with cosmology. They're telling you this. They're telling you.
Who is they, though, Eddie?
The scientist, Michio Kaku. He'll tell you.
What is he saying?
It's like the Copernicus principle, the one that we live by, is that we're insignificant. We mean nothing. We're a speck in the universe. And then there's the geocentric model. That's the heliocentric model, that we go around the sun. The geocentric model means that everything goes around us. That's what the first astronomers were saying. Ptolemy was the first one to say, yeah, we are the center. You can tell based on these observations, everything's revolving around us. And then other people came by. Copernicus said, no, based on these observations, this could also work. Oh, we're going around the sun. And then there was a third one where we're the center. The sun's going around us, but the planets are going around the sun. There was 3 models, and they were all based on observations, like dudes just looking at lights. They're looking at lights, trying to figure out, okay, are we going around the sun, or is the sun going around us? You know, I don't know. Maybe they did prove it.
What if the Earth is the center of the universe and we stand still and the universe spins around us?
Wouldn't that be nuts? Wouldn't that be nuts?
I think they're measuring that, though, and I think
that's what they're saying.
I feel them emailing me right now and telling me to go fuck myself, and that this is a disrespectful conversation.
That could be totally bullshit. That could be totally bullshit.
Well, we need to get Neil deGrasse Tyson
that's what the scientists
on
are
with
saying.
Eddie Bravo.
We don't know what's driving 96% of the universe. We don't know what's driving 96% of the universe.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Yeah, I don't know who the fuck is they, and I don't know what the...
Yeah, Michio Kaku knows all about it. He's in it. He's in it. And then
motherfucker is a conspiracy about everything.
But shit, if that's true, all the shit we've learned about science is trash. Everything. Even Einstein's theory of relativity. If this is true, that goes down. The Copernicus principle goes down. Everything goes down about space. Don't you think it's weird that we spin and the water doesn't fall off the plant? Somehow, magically...
No, it's gravity. It's just that we're dealing with mass on such a grand scale that even though it's circular, like what we think of as being flat is just our inability to grasp the perspective of a 24,000-mile circumference.
Oh, okay.
You don't believe that?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't done experiments on it. I don't know.
You don't have to. You just
other people did it.
Yeah, read what the scientists have done.
I don't believe shit. What you learn is there's so many different points of views, and everything is just a theory. And you learn that they still haven't figured a lot of shit out that we think people have figured out, but they actually didn't figure out. They still haven't figured out. They're like, yeah, Earth spins. We have a pendulum that fucking it proves. If you see a pendulum, you prove that it proves that it spins. Like, really? A fucking pendulum?
Eddie, don't you
it doesn't take an idiot to figure...
shooting their ears off right now.
Yeah, they're going crazy.
Oh, am I going too loud?
No. It's just this is not something we should...
You don't think that's fascinating?
If it's real,
if it's real, it's fascinating, right? If it's real, it's life-changing.
Yeah,
but... If it's real. If it's real. There's reasons. They got
don't
pressure.
Admit, man.
It changes everything, dude. It crushes their careers.
But why does it even have to be a conspiracy? Like, if you just look at what is absolute about space, forget about all the measurements. Just forget about all the numbers because I don't know and you don't know.
I don't know.
Just forget about that. Just like what they're figuring out right now about Mars. I mean, they're sending back these images from these rovers, and these scientists are debating what this is, what that is, if this is actual running water at one point in time, if this is some sort of strange. All that for sure is really happening, 100%.
I think that's all bullshit.
You don't think they're really on Mars?
I think they're faking everything. I think they're faking everything. I think all that's fake.
You don't think they landed on Mars with a rover?
I think it's all fake.
How come?
It's just too hard.
It's too hard to do?
Damn much that I don't believe shit they say. I don't believe shit they say.
I believe for sure they definitely have a way to move rovers around on Mars now. It's not a biological impediment. It's not like they have to keep people, like they're saying if they're going to fly people out there, it's going to take 6 months. And, you know, they have to have enough food to stay alive and air and whatever the fuck. They have to make sure they don't get hit by micrometeors. They're going to put them on the surface of Mars. But that's not a person, though. You're talking about like a rover.
It looks like fucking Arizona with like a red tint. You run
probably
because
Mars looks like Arizona.
They make
with
it
a
red and
tint.
shit. Come on. I think it's all bullshit. I don't believe any
shit. All that crazy desert.
Oh, that looks.
That might as well be
boring.
Mars.
That could be anything.
If you thought Mars was completely different from Earth, think again.
That could be Pomona. You don't think there's a little tiny chance, small little percentage that they could be faking that?
No, I don't. Okay. I don't think it's hard to do. I mean, I think it's hard to do, but they've done it. Look, they've already got all these crazy satellite images of Earth. They got satellite images all the way out to Jupiter's moons. They've got that satellite image of that frozen moon. What's that frozen moon?
Oh, let me see if that's CGI. Find that. They got a picture of a frozen fucking moon. I guarantee you it's CGI.
This week, NASA held a live event to reveal its latest findings about Enceladus, one of Saturn's moons. Scientists announced that the Cassini space probe has detected hydrogen gas coming from cracks in the icy crust. In the subsurface oceans, they might be able to, dramatic pause, support life as we know it. Finding hydrogen is a big deal because it's a chemical we think is essential for life to form, the others being carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur. We have now detected all of those on Enceladus except phosphorus and sulfur, but we suspect those elements are present in its rocky core as well. To detect the hydrogen, Cassini passed through a plume of mostly water vapor coming out of the cracks, or tiger stripes, in Enceladus' crust. Enceladus is too small to keep hydrogen in its atmosphere, so the hydrogen must have come from the ocean inside the crust. The plumes of vapor spring up above hotspots, indicating hydrothermal activity exists on Enceladus' seafloor. NASA scientists speculated that something similar could be going on around Enceladus' hydrothermal vents. Using a process called methanogenesis, potential life forms could combine the hydrogen we now know is on Enceladus with carbon dioxide to produce energy, with methane as a byproduct. Methanogenesis is at the root of our tree of life, and may have even been critical for life on Earth to start. One NASA scientist was quick to point out, though, Enceladus might be too young to have given life enough time to form. It could be the conditions are right, but nobody's home yet. If there is life down there, Cassini won't be going to find out, partly because it was never equipped to detect life in the first place. Frankly, NASA didn't expect to find so many indicators that Enceladus could support it. The plan is to intentionally crush and vaporize Cassini using Saturn's atmosphere to ensure it doesn't crash into Enceladus or Titan and contaminate any life forms that might be living there. Cassini's grand finale is scheduled for September of this year, 1 month shy of 20 years in space. NASA's next mission to an ice world will be the Europa Clipper in the 2020s. The Clipper mission will study Jupiter's moon Europa, another ice world with plumes of vapor rising above it. At over 4 billion years old, Europa is much older than Enceladus, and some at NASA believe that extra time makes it a more likely candidate for supporting life. We're just gonna have to go there to find out.
What is
So don't try
what
to
is the
tell me-
fucking the frozen the water moon?
Come on.